Hi, welcome to One for the Road, where we navigate sobriety, recovery, and life in general. Tune in as we share our experience and opinions while answering any questions you may have. My name's Marissa, and this is my co-host, Judy.
Hello.
I think I have to talk into the microphone. All right, Judy. Hey, everybody, like, subscribe, notify, share. Just subscribe, would you please? Come on.
Please, let's get the subscribing. Welcome to One for the Road.
Yeah, welcome, and do all that stuff. Please and thank you. Appreciate you. Need your outside validation. Okay, so here we go. So let's talk about our week, and I'm gonna say our week because
it's your week. We're just the week of Marissa.
Because you get roped in to all my shit, and you're welcome. So, all right, you ready?
Y'all ready for this? Yeah.
Okay, so last Monday. Well, I don't know what the topic is necessarily, because I think that the situation calls for like a lot of, I feel like, accountability and honesty and motives. And it's just like a whole thing. It's just a real life situation about something that happens in recovery that a lot of people don't have to think about. But if you struggle with any sort of addiction, like, you have to consider these things. So
for sure, the title will come after the video is done.
Soon to be entitled. Right. Soon to be titled. So last Monday, I'm cooking dinner, whatever, and take a pan out, like, from top of the stove, put it in the oven, take it out of the oven, put it back on top of the stove, go about my business, go to grab the pot, and burn my entire hand.
Badly. Let's just say this. Badly.
Yeah. So burn my entire hand and do the just initial, like, I don't even think I screamed because it was so bad. Like, I cannot even tell you, it was so bad. Spend an hour with some ice on it. Actually, spend an hour
with your pork sausage.
Well, it was round,
Perfect. I got it. Yeah.
With my
Listen, I laughed my ass off. I laughed at your pain. Sorry.
Well, and I went somewhere. Like, I had to go somewhere, so I went there for an hour and wrapped my sausage.
Have sausage, will travel.
Right, exactly. But I did wrap it, and I heard that it's important to wrap your sausage.
Right. Yeah. Public service announcement. Yeah, wrap your sausage, people.
Yeah. So, okay. So come home about an hour later, not having any relief. The ice is terrible. It's not a good situation. The whole hand is burned. Like, pretty sure it's already blistering, whatever. So I tell significant other, like, hey, I think I need you to, like, take me somewhere, because the pain was so severe.
Yeah.
That I legitimately, like, anytime I took the ice, like, even off of it for like a half a second, which wasn't even a possibility, I legitimately felt like I was going to pass out. And I took ibuprofen right after it happened, just, whatever. So it's like 8:30 at night. We're going to the quick care. And we get in there, and the doctor's like, yeah, that looks terrible, right? Like, that looks terrible.
There's serious stuff.
Not much you can do for a burn, although they're very painful. So, like, how can we like manage, right? Because I'm gonna need to sleep, I'm gonna need to do these things, whatever. So she gives me like a tramadol, like a intense ibuprofen, I guess, shot, like, right in my butt, so that was fun.
And that hurt.
Yeah, and that hurt, but it didn't matter. Like, it was what it was, right? So she makes a comment about and here's the kicker, here's the topic, is the pain medicine, right?
Prescription
pain medication. We're not talking ibuprofen. We're not, we're just, the pain was intense, and I so she brings it up, and my first thought is, I would love for this pain to go away. That would be great. Or I would love for this to be manageable, because as I take my hand off the ice to show her, I feel like I'm going to pass out. Like, I am wiped. I am, like, whatever. So So she mentions pain medicine. And as someone with an addiction, mine's primarily to alcohol, but I am not naive to think that I can just
numb out.
Right. That I'm not going to enjoy it, right? Like my disease enjoys like not being in reality, you know what I mean?
Sure.
And so like it sounds like a good idea, you know? So they were getting ready to close. It was late at night. I just said, I'm going to fill the prescription. You know, she gave me some pretty high strength ibuprofen as well. She gave me an opiate. Yes, she gave me an opiate, an as needed kind of thing, and some cream, you know, whatever. So I fill the prescription, right? I fill the prescription because it's something that I need. I read the pamphlets, and then I have to remember that I'm a person in recovery.
Yeah.
And that I have to take a second to decide what my next actions are going to be. Right. Sure. And what that looks like. And for 6 years, I have had, you know, like a mentor, right? Like one main person that I like really go to and talk to, someone who's been practicing recovery for 40 years and so on and so forth. And I have a partner in recovery, and I have a really good friend, yourself, in recovery. And so I start, before I even take anything, I make a phone call, right? Because I'm in this situation and it's called for, it's prescribed to me, and I would like to take it. Motive is I'm in a lot of fucking pain.
Right.
I just burnt my hand. That's my motive, right? So I give her a call and I say, hey, this is what happened. She's like, okay, you know, she already knew, like I had already talked to her, you know, she knew. She said, how are they going to treat it? I told her, and she said, okay, so what are you going to do? Right? Like she asked me, what am I going to do? What am I going to do about this pain medication? Knowing what I know about myself, you know, what's the motive here, Marissa? Well, the motive is that I'm in a lot of pain. Okay. Are you in enough pain? Like, are you in enough pain that ibuprofen isn't cutting it? 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Well, right. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I am. Okay. Well, what are the instructions on the bottle? Every 6 hours as needed. Okay.
Keywords, as needed.
As needed.
We'll circle back to that.
We'll get back to that. So I make the conscious choice and I say, my motive is not to get high. I'm not looking for any sort of woohoo moment. I got this hand that's on fire, and it's been now 2 hours since I did it, and ice is
bullshit.
It's not doing the trick, right? Like it's not doing the trick. And I'm going to make this decision to take this pill, right? Knowing what I know about myself, I'm going to take this pill.
Right.
But I'm going to have people be accountable, you know? And so we talked about it. Well, take it right now. Don't worry about whether or not you're going to take it in 6 hours from now. Right. If the pain is right now, you take the pain, you take it right now. And you're going to talk to me. And what does it say? Oh, it says to take with food. So I go home. I eat it with food, you know, I take it with a bottle of water, right? I follow all the instructions on the pamphlet. You ever read a pamphlet like that?
No, because I am a drug addict. So no, right. And I, again, circling back to the as needed, because I'm like, as needed, you say,
right.
Can go, right. But I want you to finish because I'm impressed. Listen, I was there for the ride and I'm impressed.
Right. Well, listen, I'm impressed too. Like I learned these things, like people told me that these situations might happen. And when they do, I make some phone calls and I talk to people so that they can say, I don't think that sounds like a good idea. Or, okay, cool. You need to take something, right? The situation called for it. The reality is that if I stay sober the rest of my life, there might be situations where I need to take something. And when I do, what does that look like? And it looked like me immediately being accountable. I was immediately accountable.
For sure.
Talk to, fill the prescription because I was nervous the pharmacy was going to close and blah, 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 blah. Fill the prescription, made a phone call. Talk to my significant other that's already in, who's also in recovery. And how do you feel about having pain medicine in our house? No big deal, right? We both want to be sober today. Neither of us are looking to get high. reality is that if I want to go get high or go get drunk, I can do that without this prescription.
Without having to go to the doctor, for sure.
Right. The motive is that I'm in a lot of pain. I would like to take this medicine. I would like to have some, some ease of my pain. And I'm immediately accountable. I read the pamphlet. I learn what I need to do to take it, right? You take on and you don't take it on an empty stomach. Take it with food, drink some water, right? Like, don't drive my car, like read all the side effects. It's going to make you drowsy, like, whatever. I'm immediately accountable to talking to somebody else. I'm taking it one pill at a time, so to speak, right? I'm not worried about the fact that I have 20 of them and what the next 4 days is going to look like. Right now, I am in the pain. I'm taking the pill. I'm doing the ice. I'm calling the mentor. I'm talking to her. I'm accountable. And she suggests, well, when you get home, write down when you take it, right? Because if you feel like you start to abuse it, like you're going to be able to see a pattern. Plus then there's no confusion on whether it's been 6 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours,
right?
Whatever. But take the pill right now. And we're going to take it one pill at a time, right? Like when in doubt, I can always fall back. And we made a video about that too, like one day at a time, one pill at a time, 1 minute at a time, just whatever the one is at a time, right? And so we immediately get accountable. And I did. And I took the pain medicine, I put ice on my hand, and I was able to get some sleep. And it was managed, Next morning, wake up, not doing much better.
Call me.
Calling you, calling her, talking to significant other, saying, and analyzing it myself, right? The whole entire time I'm going through this thing, I'm asking myself, like, where's the pain really at? Where's it at? Be honest. Because if you're doing it just because you want to take a pill and you feel good, which I got to be honest with you, I didn't have, there was no party going on, right? Like I actually needed it. So it did its job and there was no euphoric, like,
for sure,
whatever, like it just didn't work out that way, like, and thank God, like, because I needed it and it did its job and I don't need to have the extra buzz, the high, the whatever, wake up next morning, same conversation, like, how bad is the pain? The pain is still excruciating. And by this time I've got some bubbles going on my hand, some blistering, like, and it calls for it, right? Like, and
it's getting worse, right?
It's getting worse because it's starting to heal and whatever, and so same process, right? Make the phone calls again, eat the food, drink the water, take the pill, and I'm not driving my car and I'm writing it down, right? But I'm honest with myself. And so whatever. And so then, I only ended up taking one other pill after than that. And it was what we've been calling a 3-pill party.
Yeah, right. Rather than the 20-pill party, like knowing it'll come to an end. It was a bit disappointing, honestly. The addict in me is like,
it was a bummer. It was a bummer.
You couldn't 20-pill party. Damn.
I know. But I learned to be honest with myself, and I had you and I had her and I had my significant other and I even had my sister, right? My sister knew what was going on and everybody's asking me, how you feeling?
Right.
Did
you take a pill?
Right. And everyone else is like, did you take a pill? Because if it hurts, you can take a pill.
Feel?
Go ahead.
How do you feel? How's it going?
How's it feel? And so I had to just be honest about where I was at, like, and my disclaimer is this: if you don't think you can take it, don't fucking take it.
For sure.
Like if you think that's going to trip something in you, if you think that's going to trigger something for you, then don't take it. But I'm able to be honest with myself today. And I was able to differentiate whether or not I actually had the pain or was I looking for a freebie, so to speak, which I was not. That wasn't my motive. My motive was I had pain, but I didn't just take anything and not tell anybody.
Right.
And go, and say, well, I got 20, I can just take it, because the pain did get to a point where it was manageable with the ibuprofen and the ice and the just not using the hand. Right. Like it became manageable, but, it prompted a lot of conversation between you and I.
Yeah.
About what was my motive, right? Like, what's my motive behind taking anything? Like, what's my motive behind taking the ibuprofen? Like, because I can be addicted to anything.
Well, for sure. Well, yeah. And you heard me, like when they gave you Motrin 600, I'm like, damn, 800 is my favorite. Like who has a favorite Motrin, for Christ's sake, right? Like, I mean, and all that did for me is like, sure, I laugh, and I'm laughing now because it's so ridiculous, right? And I hear me going, oh, only 600. And I'm like, you're a fucking junkie, dude. Like, for real. And, and we did have conversations, right? Because, I mentioned having two neck surgeries, right? The first one, again, being prescribed opiates both times. The first one, fighting it, not wanting to take it and therefore waiting until I was in so much pain, and that was one of the things we did talk about was, I can be uncomfortable and I can be in a certain amount of pain, but at what point do I get my ego still, even with that, out of the way? And then we did an episode, right? Get the help I need, right? I'll take the pill. And I remember fighting it, right? And the whole time I fought it, I remember sharing my experience with you. It was like 13 minutes. I timed it. See, that's the addict in me. I would take that pill, look at the time, and wait 13 minutes, and then I feel it.
Yeah.
Feel it, right? So yes, I had neck surgery. No, I wasn't accountable. No, I wasn't making calls to any sort of mentor or people in the program. I was waiting for those 13 minutes, and it was hard to stop. It was super hard to stop. Second neck surgery, same opiate, but was accountable. Talked to people who were in recovery, talked to the mentor, did those things, right? Also had a little side thing. And because I was so messed up, I mean, this was major neck surgery, whatever. I was still loopy for days from anesthesia and whatnot. But, I remember having to have my mother be accountable, right? And I remember being in that kind of pain, but taking it, right? And really just accepting that that's what it was. My experience with those things is that when I have real physical pain, not emotional, right? Not something that's self-created in my heart, right? But when I have real physical pain, those medicines work on that pain, right? And so I don't get as high per se, right? I don't, I'm going to say this, I'm going to tell on you. At one point, you're like, maybe I should take half a pill, right? Like you didn't want to take the whole one. Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And the advice was, what does it say?
To self-medicate.
Right. What does it say?
Right.
It doesn't say take a half, Marissa, and then see in 2 hours if maybe you could take the other half, right? Because all of a sudden now, but that's the motive was I don't want to take it at all, but I need it. So the motive wasn't necessarily bad, but it's the path, right? It's that slippery slope. Well, if I take half now and in 2 hours I need the other half, now I'm medicating myself every 2 hours. Now, I'm doing some sort of nursing or doctor math that I am not qualified to do. Yeah. And I'm just continually on a high, right? And even, high is relative. I don't need to be loaded and be unable to walk. I just need to feel like I'm kind of floating sometimes, Yeah. And so, but that's why you're accountable. That in and of itself, that one simple thought where the motive was, I don't want to take this whole pill because I don't want to feel fucked up, was take the whole pill. That's how it's prescribed. Right. And then you said, right, do it your way. Right.
Yeah. And I said that to my significant other and he was like, stop, like, just take the whole thing. Like if she wanted it, there's a reason that the doctors ask your height and weight, that they don't give a shit, but they need to know how to diagnose you, to prescribe you, to help you. They need to know, and whatever. But I did, but I was honest, right? Like, and sometimes I amaze myself too at just like how honest I was being, because the first night that I took something, there was no feeling. There was I was just like, I actually said at one point, if I don't feel fucked up, is it still working? And like, I know that sounds like silly, but I'm curious to know, right? Because people get addicted to this stuff because it's so magical and this and that and the next, whatever, and so I was curious, and boyfriend said like, well, Yeah, like I'm
working.
pretty sure it's actually good that you don't feel that. But how does
Right.
your pain feel? Like, are you manageable right now? Like, can you shut up and go to bed?
Right. Well, but isn't that the thing, right? That's the alcoholic and that's the addict portion of the brain. If I don't
Sure.
feel a certain type of effect, this probably can't work, right?
Right.
I might need more. We've had conversations about back in the drinking days. I shared with you about a conversation with my daughter, and she's like, and they never put, and I'm thinking, oh, you're going to be one of us. You never taste the booze and drinks. And I said, well, here's the funny thing, kid. You're not supposed to, right? Like, that's not the goal. The goal is to have a nice tasting drink, so I shared my experience with her, right? Like a vodka cranberry never looked like there was cranberry juice. It kind of looked like pink water, because I always thought there was never any booze in there. And so I wouldn't get, you know what I mean? Like if you can't taste it, it must not be there. So if you don't have the effect of the pill, it must not be working. That's that crazy shit that goes on in a mind of an addict or an alcoholic, right? Like, how is this can't be, because I'm not laying on the fucking floor drooling, right? It's not working. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, no, and it's so crazy. It was, the whole experience was really, I was grateful for it, right? Like I got sober at 26 years old. Like, I just know that there's, not that I'm seeking out these things. And in 6 years, I've never, thank God, like injured myself in any sort of way that like I was even ever put in that position. But, as a result of continually like practicing a lot of these things that I've learned, when the moment came, when it really mattered, I was able to do what I needed to do. And I felt good about my decisions, like,
and it was only a 3-pill party.
I know.
But here's the thing. I want to just say this, right? Because I think that, like you said, 6 years in recovery, and this is your first hurdle, right? It's God. I pray that you don't be that ever are in this situation again, right? Where it comes to such heavy duty pain medication. But the reality is the older we get, right? Shit happens. And, and the good news about all of it is that you're sitting here today, sober as a judge, right? Well, sober as a sober judge. And, they're out there. And you did it. You managed it. And I want to tell you, I'm grateful that I got to be a part of that and watch it from I just burned my fucking hand to I'm driving holding a sausage to I'm at quick here and now I have some opiates, right? And I got to see that, and I get to be in awe of the fact and grateful that I have somebody like you in my recovery program who showed me how to do it, right? Even though I know, like, we talk about it, hard head, short memory, all of those things, that when I'm put in a position when it matters and I'm given a bottle of pills, will I do it the right way? And you just showed me again, right? Because I mean, this surgery stuff, this was years ago for me, but you just showed me again, it's completely doable if, these are the key points I picked up. Correct me if I'm wrong. Honest, right? I kept lines of communication open.
Yeah.
I was accountable.
That was the most important part too. Like just being able to talk about it. And then I talked about how I felt about it. You know what I mean? Like we were talking about how I felt, like being on it. The next morning when I took it, I did have some of that, what I perceived to be like the euphoric feeling. You know what I mean? I also went straight to bed. Like, I also went back to bed for the rest of the day because it was up, down the rest of the night. But like, I have people in my life today that I can be honest, and they're not like, oh, well, maybe you shouldn't take that. They're like, yeah, of course, like that's going to happen. But like, that stuff's not real life either. Right. Like we're just managing the pain. And, one of the cool things that I found throughout, actually there was just a lot of really cool things that I like saw in that whole process of doing that, and I really was proud of myself. And I that's why I'm sharing it, you know what I mean? Because it's a win for me today.
Sure.
But,
For sure.
I've always thought like, if I'm in a little bit of pain, I don't need to be in any pain, right?
Right. Why take 2 Advil if you could take 4?
Right. And so as I was like going through the, the 2 days, because it was just the first 2 days that the night that it happened, the next day, and that was it, and then the following, the third day or the second day, whatever it was, like I kept saying, I'm comfortable if I keep the ice on it and take the ibuprofen. It's manageable. It wasn't all going away,
right?
Like it took well over 24 hours to even be able to take ice off my hand. But then I still my hand's still swollen and I'm still, like, thank God it was my left hand and I'm right-handed, but like to be able to say like, it's a manageable pain and not to want to be completely obliterated because I got this burn on my hand. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't trying to milk it either, like to watch myself be like, yeah, it's okay to be in some discomfort. I wasn't going to work. I had nothing else to do but to baby my hand. I do hair for a living. You can't put a burned hand in water all day. You'll die. Like it just,
you'll die.
You'll die. I'm so dramatic about it. But like, as the days went on, like, yes, it's uncomfortable, but also like it's a burn on your fucking hand. Right?
You keep like saying it, right? Yeah. Like, it's, is it manageable? Yes. Uncomfortable for sure. Listen, and I just
be it necessary. No, not anymore.
Right. Well, isn't that the thing though, right? I mean, that was a lot of the reasons that we drank and a lot of the reasons that we used drugs is because we were uncomfortable. There was some pain, not even all physical, right? Mental, emotional, whatever. And that's why we did what we did. And so knowing today that, you know what, you're not going to die if you are uncomfortable. You will die, if you use drugs and alcohol to the extent of trying to numb out, right?
Yeah.
But being uncomfortable, 99.9% of the time, you're not going to die, right? Being some bit of uncomfortable.
Discomfort, for sure.
Right, for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But it was, I don't know. It was
good job.
Well,
good job.
Thank you.
I love the good job.
Thank you. But yeah, I don't know. My disclaimer again is like, listen, this is what works for me. This was my journey based on my experiences,
and accountability and honesty
and my motives, like
wasn't
everything.
A solo
that
job.
was the way that I navigated, because I'm well aware that there are some people that would be like, nope, you have to start your sobriety date over again or whatever, it's just not my belief.
Even with that. Yeah.
It's not my belief. I checked all my motives, it's the pain medicine is gone now. Like it's not anything, I want to face life as life is, like I don't want to be in a fog or a daze or anything like that, like
there's a healthy respect.
I just didn't want to have physical pain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that was, I think, one of the takeaways I saw. There was a healthy respect for the drug.
Sure.
And there was a healthy respect for your sobriety and yourself. And I think that really was, aside from being accountable, big takeaway, right? And being honest, huge. But you know what? Respecting the medication, right? And that's really what it is, because it's medicine. Yeah. I know that people are addicted and I know that people die over this shit. It's horrible. I can't even get into it without crying, but I will say this. It was created with the purpose and the motive behind it was good, right? It was to help. And so if I keep what the motive of that drug was in the forefront of my mind and have a respect for it, and then a respect for myself and sobriety, it's a safe bet that I can carry on like you did through something as challenging and come out the other side still sober. Yeah. So I'm proud to call you friend.
Thanks. I appreciate it. I just do what
they tell me to do.
What they tell me to do. I just do what it is that I know how to do today. And those like key things have always led me in the right direction. When I'm honest, when I'm open about what's going on, when I'm willing to listen to other people, like when I have that mentality, I usually can come out on things, I can face anything, and medicine's not bad. It's the way, alcohol is not bad. It's the way that it's the way that I used it that was bad. It was me. It's not it's me, and so reality is I couldn't pick up a drink today and try to control that. I wouldn't even want to do that. But you told me no one's going to prescribe you a bottle of vodka. So, I have to remember, there may be some
logs on the fire.
Right. You are. So, yeah. So that's what I had. I hope that, someone can get something out of it. And, I know so many people that are put in positions where they have to make some choices. And, I'm not against getting help, right? If you need help, if you need something, you take it. Just don't go at it alone, right? Like I've always learned if I don't go at things alone and I got a couple people that kind of know what's going on, I'm usually safe and in the clear, right? Some people that I don't mind them being like, hey, I think you're abusing that, Quite the opposite. I was like, yeah, I don't think I need to take it. And everyone's like, if your hand is hurt, you take it.
Right. When you can't use your hand, for sure.
Right. Yeah. So
safe harbor.
What I got. I hope somebody can get something out of that. And, I'm grateful to be able to share my experience. And, it feels good to know that I was able to handle, I'm not naive to say that I could handle it again, but if it comes up, I'll just deal with it one situation at a time. Although I'm not looking to injure myself anytime soon.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your story. Grateful to be here. Grateful to be sober.
Yep. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, anything that you guys would like us to talk about. Hit the notification button so you know when we are coming out with some new episodes. I think we're going to try and put some more out. We'll just we'll see how that goes.
We're going to try to double it up. 2 a week.
Double it up. That's right. We're trying. We're making an attempt. And we certainly can talk. So
and we appreciate all of you. So yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And let us know, comment, anything you'd like to share. Tell us we're full of shit, whatever. We also,
throw in a topic. We're open to talk about whatever you want to talk about. So bring it on, people. Bring it on. All
right. Thanks so much. Keep coming back.
Keep coming back.
That's all for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Be sure to hit the notification button so you know when new posts are coming up. Keep coming back.